Hey there, everyone. Thank you for coming to the MasterSolve booth at Practically Genius. We'll get started as we wait for everyone to roll in. We're going to go through a handful of products today. It's about 5 products: Marketing Cloud, Formstack, of course, Experience Cloud, the Salesforce platform, and Slack all together, with Formstack being the trigger that really launches a lot of these transformative processes. So before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about who MasterSolve is and our partnership with FormSec, what that looks like, and then we will get straight into the demo. So I will present. So our core values at MasterSolve have really brought us to a place where we've had over 100 CRM implementations, and really where our clients find value is that we're reliable and authentic. Those are two of the core values that really set us apart. And we strive to be customer centric. And what that means is we're always looking for a solution that's the best fit, best time for the customer. So there's a lot of different ways to approach a FormStack implementation or a Salesforce implementation, any cloud-based system. But is it the right fit at the right time? That's really what our core values are all about, is just aligning what we need to get done with what our customers are able to accomplish from a change management perspective as well. And our industry expertise, we've worked with a lot of different industries out there. Today, we're going to talk about property management. We do have a pretty good size FormStack implementation and Salesforce implementation with a remodeler in the construction industry. And we've also worked in manufacturing, financial services, transportation, as well as high tech. And just a few stats I think that really lay out what MasterSolve does very well. We have a big presence across North America in both the US and Canada. Our teams are 50-50, half in Canada, half in the US. So that gives us very versatile time management skills. And through our implementations, we've supported over almost 13,000 end users with 30 employees and growing. So we're seeing a lot of growth, primarily driven by Salesforce and Formstack, along with our other partners, which include TaskRay and Capado, as well as AWS. We're seeing a lot of growth with just the combined energies of all those partners working together. And just a brief look at some of the team members here: our sales and marketing, delivery team, as well as executive leadership. So again, like I said, we're growing out this team very rapidly. So it's something that is very exciting for us. And then a list of our valued clients, really from all those industries that we had talked about previously. So we work with clients where we do $10,000 a year with them, all the way to $1 million+ a year with them. So we really have a versatile tool set and really understanding the challenges that are faced in each industry and really working with what they want on the near term as well as the longer term. Okay. So what we're going to take a look at today, first we're going to start off in Marketing Cloud. So with Marketing Cloud, that is going to generate the activities that are going to lead the prospect into the experience site or the website where they are going to engage with FormStack. So we're going to take a look at FormStack as well as Experience Cloud in step 2. Step 3 is, because Slack is the new digital HQ for Salesforce, we're going to take a look at Experience Cloud to Slack integration for that constant real-time information to the leasing agents, to the concierge team, to maintenance. That step 3 is going to be more about the application. In step 6, we'll see more of those additional workflows for the concierge team and for the maintenance team. For step 4, we're going to see the resident experience within Salesforce. So for that leasing agent, for that leasing manager, what are they going to see in Salesforce? So we'll see how those previous steps then tie in there. And then step 5 and step 6 is really mimicking 2 and 3, but then this is when that resident is actually a part of the community, or has purchased a home. That's the workflows that we're going to take a look at there. And then we're going to recap. We're going to take questions in the chat at any time during this. So please don't be shy. And we are going to follow John, the greatest yet to be resident, or Julie in this case. Okay. So from there, I am going to move on over to Marketing Cloud. So if we go back just one step, so we've got two journeys we've created. We've got a more general resident experience, but I might have a different journey based upon the geographic region. So I live in Washington, D.C., so we're going to do the Washington, D.C. awareness journey. So there's a few methods that we can communicate here. This is all coming from a data extension, which is a list of prospects that we have collected with attributes that are collected that we designate. So from here, we are starting the engagement with an email, but we are also utilizing SMS as well as WhatsApp. Hopefully it doesn't crash during this flow, but going through this, we've got a lot of different channels that we're engaging with, and they're going to go on different paths based upon the actions that they're taking. And when you bring AI with Einstein into this flow, you really get the ability to, based upon the data of everything that they've done so far in the flow, you get to group them. In this case, it's looking at the email open rate so far, and it's grouping prospects into most likely to open this email, least likely, and then the remainder will get a WhatsApp message. So just a brief look at how they're coming to this community. And from here, we are on the luxury real estate experience cloud site. Here, Julie or John, they are going to start their application process. So when they start their application process, they are going to see all of the apartments that are available to them. And Julie's going to click on 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And from there, here's where Formstack comes into place. And this is really a pivotal component of this experience site. A lot of the workflows could not be made without a technology like Formstack. So here we see our application, which is the Formstack form built for community, and then a quick video on the rental application process. That's just a rich content editor that we've added here. So we're going to go through all this, and just for time's sake, I've filled all this out previously. And then using some of the logic here, this works the same way that have you lived at a previous resident works. But if I click, are you currently employed? It then populates for me. So we'll click out of that. My bank, not my savings and checkings number. So don't worry about stealing my information. First reference here, and I can add more. I won't do that right now. And then, have you ever been late on a payment? Do you have any pets? Reasons for moving from current residence? All options, and then my signature, and we'll click send. I'll thank you for your submission. Now, there is a little bit of a lag with Slack. There's about 10 to 15 seconds where it creates that new record, but we should be getting that notification on Slack at any time. So if I come over here into Slack, we see that in a previous edition demo, it had created, new application was created. It just, there's a little bit of a lag here in the creation process. So new application was created, Julie Morris. And then that is where we are going to come into what the leasing agent is going to see. So this is internally in Salesforce. This will look familiar to anyone that has worked through Salesforce before. And really what we have here is activities by inside sales rep, the leaderboard, really the activity. This can be drag and drop to showcase any dashboard, but here is just more of an activity dashboard. And then really the things we want to look at are my prospects and today's applications. So if we go to Julie Morris application, we can see that we've got that rental agreement right there. Because what it did is it sent it off to Julie, and then it brought it back in because I'm saving it back to Salesforce. That's the delivery process we put into place to save it under an application record. And so if I go to, let me see, if I go back home and I go to my prospects and then come to Julie, this is really where the power of Salesforce comes into play in that integration piece. Because what we've done now is we have this could be represented as a lead. Right now it's a person account. We've kind of made an additional step here. What I can see is the application record tied there. I can understand based upon that application information coming in, how likely is Julie to convert to a resident. That is launching a prediction model using Einstein to capture some of the metrics there, as well as Julie's account team. So it's really your resident 360 in understanding all of the activities you've done and everything that's going to be generated all off that application record. So one thing before we go back into the look of the experience site is prospect action plans. So this is a very unique feature of Salesforce and Salesforce Industries to be able to automatically generate a list of documents that need to be collected and actions that need to be taken for the account team. So if I go to prospect conversion plan, what I have is a pre-designated list of tasks and document checklist items. So if I needed to get a background check done, if I needed to get their pay stubs, if I needed to run a credit check, all that I could place here for whomever is going to own this prospect to complete. And so if we come back, we can mark this as complete. We can edit this straight from here. And then another great thing here is if I come down here, I can understand all of my upcoming overdue tasks. So it's really, as long as you have access into this, you're part of the account team, you're part of this relationship that you're building, you can really understand everything that's going on with Julie, which really cuts down in the communication and allows you to give Julie exactly what she needs at any given time and to understand what her relationships look like as well. So it's really just a powerful place to be able to understand everything that brought Julie to be here. Does she know anyone else that lives here? If she does, how can we make that user, that resident, have a better experience with us moving forward? So really robust and really making sure that we're tying Julie into everything and every relationship that she has, and that we're understanding the referrals that she's bringing. So in my case, I was referred to the apartment by a friend that had lived here for a few years. And so he was marked down as referral. So he will get incentives. He'll get, some kind of finder's fee, or he might get, a special amenity for a day or an hour. They might throw him a party of some kind. Really making sure that you understand the residents that bring people and the residents that do not um, really helps you to make better experiences with those that really care and have a passion for experiencing your community, whether if you're buying a home in a neighborhood or whether you are buying a condo or you are renting through an apartment complex. Okay. So we'll get out of here for now. So let's fast forward a couple months. And from here, we're going to come back. And so we want to move past the start your application point. We've already done that. So there's a couple things I want to point out here before we go into the workflows. We're going to focus on really three workflows. We will take a look at the move-in inspection, but that's not something that we built any automation through Slack for. We're going to look at guest authorization, reserve and amenity, maintenance requests, and billing. All very important pieces here. And all of this is powered through Formstack and Service Cloud. So if we come down here, before we get into those workflows, we can see CMS, Salesforce CMS at work here, displaying events, activities in the neighborhood. Because if Julie's new to the neighborhood, we want to make sure she's engaged. If she's not engaged in the neighborhood, starts to understand her neighbors, starts to have communication, she's probably not going to have a great experience. She can also see her relationship team. So the same relationship team we saw in Salesforce, we are surfacing here where I can easily click on one of these and log a case. Let me, there we go. Let's log in again. Let me go back into Salesforce and log in. Sometimes it does this when you're using more than one instance. Okay. We'll log back in. Put all sites. There we go. All right, perfect. Okay, we're back in. All right, so if I come down here to Justin Chen, there we go. So we can create a case here. Now, this is just a generic case form. It'd be more particular. I wouldn't need to grab the contact name if I were already logged in as Julie or John. But it really allows me to be accurate in who I'm reaching out to and what is the content of that case. And it'll be transferred straight to Slack, just as we saw before. Okay. So if we come back, the last piece here before we move on to the workflows are just a service knowledge base using Service Cloud of those commonly asked questions, billing questions, etiquette, amending your lease, amenity rules, and how to use your digital file. Perfect. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into guest authorization. So with guest authorization, it's a pretty easy form. So let's say I am coming in to visit Julie and I am her brother and I have a few options here. Maybe I want to announce the guest. Does the guest already have a key or do I authorize the guest to have a key? So I'll have those two and he can come in whenever he wants. All right, so thank you for your submission. And again, give Slack like 10, 15 seconds and it'll bring over that. There we go. It was a little bit faster this time. So as we can see, the concierge created a new authorization request. So I can start to work on that straight within Salesforce, just like we saw with the application record. So that's really workflow number one. And this is easy because typically you might not be home when the guest arrives. So you might want them to get comfortable, might want them to have the key, and you don't want to have to worry about them being locked out or having to walk around, um, especially if it's later at night. Okay. The next piece will go to our maintenance requests. So a couple things here that are not on the previous request are a list of my previous maintenance requests. So this is just using a list view of Salesforce. And then a knowledge article. So here we're exhibiting our knowledge base. So if I'm logging a maintenance request, what does it cover? So I can easily get this knowledge base. So we'll put this in. So Julie Morris, Department 101, priority level. This is going to be high. And we'll just say door broke. Door broke. As our maintenance human permission, and I do not have any pence, and I'll click send. And again, we're going to see an automation sent to Slack. So give it, 10, 15 seconds for that to come over, and it will come over into Slack. So while we wait for that, we can come over into manage billing. Okay. So with billing, it's really the same kind of setup that we're working with. We're able to see how do I get set up to pay rent. Again, a knowledge article, and then we've got a rent payment form here. So I can also label it as recurring, and all of this is integrated with Stripe. So the payment here is secure. And if we come over into Slack, again, if we go under maintenance requests, we should see that maintenance request. There we go. So we've got a few maintenance requests here that have been created. And then if I come back to this internal view of Salesforce, if I come under transaction, I can also see all those rent payments coming into Salesforce through that secure method. Okay. So from here, we're going to go home and we'll take a look at reserve and amenity. So reserve and amenity is really going to do much of the same thing. So these are all the amenities that we have. So we'll go to the Sunset Lounge and Bar in really easy form. So we've got, again, that knowledge base, date of reservation, start time. Let's do that. Let's see, 8. And we'll send that. And then again, that's going to send over to Slack. It's going to go to the concierge team. So again, we have an amenity request and an authorization request. So we can start to work on those, and those will all be tied to Julie in real time. Let me come on over here. And then the last workflow we're going to take a look at is the move-in inspection. So the move-in inspection, typically when you are moving into an apartment or to condo for the first time, they will ask for you to fill out, how is the state of each room. So what we're doing here is we're digitizing this. We're going through each room and we are allowing this to be kept on record, because if any changes need to be made, especially if I'm moving out, there's always some mix up of how much of the security deposit for more of an apartment complex will you get. um, so this is more of a digital electronic record of all of that. So really what this will shoot over to the maintenance request so that they can do their due diligence at the same time if there are problems here, to be able to fix that. One last thing I want to show you, it is not a Formstack workflow, but it is something that is incredibly important. If I want to follow up with Julie, what I can do is I can use the Lightning scheduler to schedule an appointment. And we'll just do Alan. And I have all of these work type groups. I'll click a walkthrough. Um, we'll do in the center. And I'll do San Francisco, even though we're in DC, just for the sakes of this demo. And I have all these times. So what I can do is I can surface these appointments on that Experience Cloud site. And I can modify, I can cancel them. There we go. Your service appointment's all set. So really what this allows me to do, it allows really just this page to be that one stop where I can have all this interaction. I can email, I can send out events, I can send out, marketing information, marketing collateral. So it really gives me a very flexible platform with Formstack, with Slack, with Marketing Cloud, and with the Salesforce platform to be able to automate all those residential workflows. Um, so if we come back over here, one thing I want to allude to is really what we talked about today. So we walk through Marketing Cloud. That's really how we get that engagement, how we get that participation and that interest to come to the site. Step 2, the resident experience application, which is that Experience Cloud site with Formstack and with that integration to Slack. Step 4, then going to the leasing agent, the leasing office view. What are they going to see when Julie comes to the community and starts to engage? And then step 5 and step 6, once Julie is a resident, how does she engage with us? How does she understand her account team? And how do we make sure that she's getting everything she can to be a great experience, for this to be a great experience? And then step 7, really just where we are right now, just recapping. All this workflow really, we're using a couple different pieces of the Salesforce platform, but it's really all within one system of record. All of it's being dropped down into Salesforce. So this is really what we've been working with property management firms on doing, and really implementing this type of workflow, which we're seeing a lot of promise with and a lot of eagerness to really digitize some of these within the same platform, the Salesforce platform. So I hope this was helpful in understanding how MasterSolve approaches implementations when it comes to Salesforce and Formstack for resident experience and for property management, as well as all the other industries we are part of. Um, so I hope that you find benefit out of this, and I hope that we can work together in the future. Thank you.